between discipline versus punishment?
Great question. Okay, so when we start positive parenting class, I love to get into the definition of what is parenting. What are we doing here anyway? And I am very clear that in the way we're approaching parenting, it's a relationship. It's not something we do to our child. Okay, so that's a big distinction right off. And then to look at how are we in this relationship? How are we going to nurture and guide our children? We look at something that was brought in from our past commonly is this idea of punishment. Punishment I look at as parenting using strategies or tools that are born from shame, blame, and or pain. That would be my definition of parenting or relationship that is born out of punishment. The other alternative, and there really is another alternative, and it is just as firm, but it is respectful, and that would be discipline, or what I think of as positive or mindful parenting. And for me, that discipline is firm, it is clear, and it's respectful. And it comes back to that definition of parenting. If you look at parenting as a to-do, then it's flat, it's one-dimensional, it's one thing. When I look at parenting, it's a triad, a triangle. It's who I am, right? Me, what I bring to the party. And your work delves so beautifully and deeply into this part of the triangle. Who am I and what am I bringing to the party? Then there's who is my child, coming to know and understand and embrace their nature. And some of maybe their even gifts and challenges. And then that other corner are the tools that we have, okay? And that's where the positive parenting or the mindfulness strategies that you all are going into in this beautiful course are so valuable and where they can be really transformative. So I hope that helps give you just sort of the overview. We're moving away from parenting top down, something I do to you, into a much more rich, beautiful definition, and it's a relationship. And in that relationship, we can lead and guide by example, and we teach best when we are clear, and we are firm, and we are respectful.
Oh, I love that. I truly believe this is more a collaborative experience, right? It's not parenting exactly like you said, where I am the greater than or I'm the superior and you need to listen to me and do as I say. It's more about understanding where we're coming from. So I think that's a beautiful distinction because I feel like we're probably the first generations of moms who are actually even having this conversation to understand the distinction between punishment and discipline. So thank you for articulating that so well so that all of us can understand that. So actually putting into practice as far as discipline, right, this positive reinforcements, as you say. One of the most challenging situations, I think, for every single mom is in those moments when our children are having a meltdown, when they're feeling stressed, when they're anxious, and they are having heavy emotions come through, because that naturally causes us to feel anxious and stressed as well. So do you have any tools or tips to provide as far as how can we work with our child rather than against them when they're in that mode of feeling meltdown and difficult emotions?
Yes, I do. What I love to look at is the brain. My background is I'm a physical therapist for 25 years with a focus on attachment. And my husband and I own a holistic health center, and I believe in strategies that are rooted in science. And we bring together Eastern and Western medicine. So I happen to believe that as we're talking about mindfulness and the breath and parenting, we can really lean into science to inform us. And the strategy I like to bring to parents is the understanding of the brain, very simply. And the idea that as parents, we can learn to parent brain to brain. So I can share that with you as a simple, what I share as a red light, yellow light, green light brain. And how can we learn to parent from those three places, to parent our children when they're in the meltdown mode, when they're whiny, clingy, and or when they're really ready to learn and grow. So should I just go into a little summary?
For sure. That sounds amazing.
Okay, wonderful. So yes, I think when we understand, number one, that misbehavior is an unmet need, simply put. It doesn't mean that baby is bad or wrong, or child is bad or wrong, or that mom or dad are bad or wrong. It simply means there's something underneath and we want to get to it. And so in the mindful or positive parenting model, there's a lot of acceptance, and that's part of that mindfulness practice that we work on the mat, so we can take it off the mat and be present to what is. So understanding that your child has 3 brains, and most of you out there are going, I knew it. Who is this little monster right here? Where's my angel? They literally shift into different parts of their brains, and once you understand them, it's so easy and less stressful to be accepting in those more challenging moments. So let's go through them. The red light brain, everybody knows this one. This is the oldest part of the brain. It's reptilian. It's your brain stem. And if this were a little mini brain right here, this would be your brain stem, okay? And this little guy is responsible for 3 things: fight, flight, or freeze. It's a beautiful part of the brain for keeping you alive and safe. And if I dropped a cobra in front of you right now, you would react. You would not sit and get out Google and do some research. You would be reflexive and reactive. And that's how nature intended it. So we don't want to hate the tantrums or the red light brain. We just want to understand it so we can help it. And so what I teach parents to do with the red light brain, and a lot of this is informed by Dr. Dan Siegel's work. Amazing. He wrote the book, The Whole Brain Child. So I want to give a nod to his work and his science and his research, because it's very easy to take these and bring them into your life. But what he tells us is that this part of the brain needs to know one thing, and that is you are safe. Simply put, you are safe. So the tool I give parents is to use your body language, to get down low and use your eye contact, and understand that for your little person, 90% of your communication is through your body language. So just in getting low, making eye contact, and saying something as simple with your hand as you're safe. Some parents find offering a hug at this point can de-escalate the red light brain. Some find that it pushes their child further into the reflexive, reactive mode. So you have to come to know your child there. You get to come to know your child there. But that is, and the other thing is that the red light brain can be triggered by simple physical needs like sleep and hunger and being off routine. Those are the 3 top disrailers that you'll find in your life that have no cause other than just a physical root cause that's triggering the child. And I'll say, or you, right, or me as a parent. We can slip easily into our red light brain when we are overwhelmed and stressed. Okay, so now we know how to identify the red light brain. We know a little bit about how to be with it. What you don't want to do, which is what a lot of us do as parents, is start engaging the red light brain in a dissertation of rational, logical thoughts. This is why you should not be so sad about getting a green lollipop. At least you're getting a lollipop. I know you wanted the orange one, but you ain't getting an orange one. We only got a green one. And I worked so hard to get you here, and why aren't you grateful? And all the other things. What I say to my parents is just imagine that you're Snoopy's teacher and you're going, wah, 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 okay? And your child, they're not there, okay? That I love where I'm seeing the head going up and down. So
funny.
It's resonating. Okay.
Oh, this is so funny.
Yeah. All right. So the red light brain, we all know it. We can come to resent it less, and what we can do is we can actually help them move up into the yellow brain. Let me tell you about the yellow. That is the middle brain, the limbic brain. And in the middle brain, our children have an ability to be emotional. A lot of memory retainment happens in that middle brain. A lot of the snuggly, cuddly, lovey places they go come in there. And attachment happens there. Guess what also happens there? Whining, okay? Dissatisfaction, resistance, a lot of emotion, anger, before they get down to that red light brain, they might be up in that emotional yellow brain. Now, here's the thing. You'll know they're there because they'll be whiny, clingy, or out of sorts. They could be hyper. And if you can catch a yellow light brain in action, you can actually help him or her up into the green light brain. The thing to do to a yellow light brain is to be empathetic. And what I say to do is two little things. I love mantras, and these are easy to remember. Name it to tame it, and feel it to heal it. So you want to label the emotion. Oh, you're feeling so sad. Are you feeling so sad? You really wanted the green one, didn't you? I know. I love green ones too. That's empathy. And you're not being permissive. You're not saying, oh, do whatever I can, move mountains, get that orange one or get that green one. He's not happy with this one. But you're also not saying you get what you get and you don't throw a fit, which is the opposite of empathy. Okay? When a child's yellow light brain is met with compassion and empathy, this is what happens. They'll breathe. And you'll literally see them move up into a more logical, rational part of the brain called the green light brain. And this is the frontal part of the brain, the neocortex, where learning and emotional intelligence building is actually capable. They're actually capable of it. It's actually where it happens. And what I want all your parents to know out there is that this does not begin until age around about 2, really formally, are we going about wiring that frontal part of the brain. And we do it as human beings till we're 26. So your little person, if they're not empathetic, compassionate, self-regulating, other perceiving people at age 3 or 4 or 5, don't be worried. Your best strategy is to meet them where they are and to just continue modeling these tools, not in a resentful way of you should already have this mastered, but in the way we just talked about, meeting them in the yellow brain, helping them feel safe, and then holding their hand and bringing them up into these new skills that are possible when they're in the green thinking brain.
Oh my goodness, Suzanne, that was like major ahas going off. Like that was amazing. Thank you for putting that so well in a very scientific way, because that was so logical. And I know you mamas are like totally like feeling these ahas too. But yes, that was amazing. I love that. And I think the biggest aha for me was just understanding that, oh yeah, like that breath, I feel like even we do that. Like when we like recognize if there's a surrender to something, like there is like a, all right, what do I do next? Like, so when you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that even happens to us as adults and that's us moving through these different levels of red, yellow, and green light brain.
Absolutely. As you start to identify your child's red light, yellow light, green light brain, you'll identify your own and you'll have a lot more empathy and compassion for yourself when you are triggered and when you are losing it. One of my favorite lines is that guilt is the poorest of advisors. It just has no place in your parenting. Never take it as good counsel. It is always a sign of something that wants to be healed. And underneath that is a breath and is a reset button. And for me, the breath is the ultimate pause and it's the ultimate reset button. And literally it helps us regulate. And what's happening in the yellow light brain is we're dysregulated and we're working to get regulated. So children are so brilliant. When they get clingy, they're actually working to re-regulate. If they get whiny, they're actually working to re-regulate. So I've heard some people say whining is sort of the infant's cry, but now they're getting older and they have language. So don't resent. From my work with parents, whining is one of the number one triggers. That and aggression, when our children are aggressive with us or another child. To remember that that's likely to trigger you, and you're going to be flipping your lid and going down to your brainstem. And remember to help yourself feel safe before you can then help your child. So get regulated. Sometimes I might go to the bathroom, literally shut the door, breathe, 3-minute reset, come back out, ready to parent.
That's amazing. And mamas, that's what we've been doing. We've been creating these little calming breaks throughout our day to create these resets so that we can effortlessly come to these different tools to tune into ourselves before we engage with our children. So yes, that's exactly what I resonate with, and what you mamas have been learning this past 6 weeks. So that's an amazing full circle. So thank you for that. So as my mamas know, I'm all about practical tools we can include in our day-to-day life, because theory is amazing. I think we all need to understand the information to have all that context. Now it's about how to make this part of our reality. And one of the things that stood out to me was the very first time that we talked, Suzanne, was your determination and your drive to see this vision of timeouts being transformed to time-ins and be like, oh, remember back then when we had those timeouts? Can we believe that we actually thought that was how we're supposed to raise our children? And I was just like, yes, that's exactly what I feel like a mindful parent or a positive parent strives for, is to learn these tools and skills to transform timeouts to time-ins. And this is a new concept. And of course, there's a lot of trial and error, but I think you have a lot of wisdom and practical tools to help us to make those steps in that direction. So I would love it if you could go into some of the whys and hows of creating time-ins into our family life.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so as you know, I'm a parent educator and I run classes, and it was really my parents that were so much smarter than me. They came to me and they said, we love what we're learning, and I'm all about the tools, and we want to take it even more powerfully into our lives every day, because I hound them about the power of ritual to help our children learn and to help them move into that thinking brain and help them feel safe. And it was really based on their request that I started Generation Mindful to create a whole line of playful, fun, simple, easy ways to make positive parenting or mindful parenting happen in a real joyful way, in a daily way. So yes, my goal of seeing all of us as families and even teachers move to time in rests on what we know about the brain. And so we need tools. And so if we're gonna educate our child when they're in meltdown mode and we can't do a lot of talking, we need a way to help elevate them into the green light brain, and then to work with them in the middle of a meltdown, in the middle of breakdown. And so I have a couple tools to share with you. I'm going to just get going with them and show you. One is so simple. You all know what this is. Okay, you have one at home. If you are motivated to start embracing time in your home, I invite you to find just a sweet little spot in your house that feels safe and comfortable, and declare it to be your time in space. Make it cozy. You might have some pillows, and I'm going to give you a couple tools that will help your child regulate their upset. When they're in their time in space, you're going to go there with them. You're going to invite them into, this is feeling really hard. I see you're upset. You just hit your brother. I saw the truck fly across the room there. So let's go over to our time in spot. You're not going to ask them so much, because when you're dysregulated, it can be really hard to be enrolled, right? You know what that feels like. It's not the time where you want to ask your child, will you please put your shoes on? And you're going to get back that a no. We're putting our shoes on. And so we are going to go get regulated. We're not in the middle of a power struggle, but we are in meltdown, and we are going to go get regulated. And so, some of us have trouble with boundaries or being firm, but that's a big part of positive parenting. We're not talking about permissive parenting. We're talking about positive parenting. And so when you invite yourself into this safe space, it's always helpful to set it up ahead of time so it's not a surprise to your child, and it's something they like. They helped make this place. They love this place. They love the books in there. You get over there with your little straw, and you might just simply breathe in and breathe out. And what will naturally happen is that your out breath will be twice as long as your in breath because of the straw. And science tells us that activates the vagus nerve. All sorts of parasympathetic nervous system things happen. All wonderful. You don't have to talk about any of that. It's just silly fun. And if you want to make it even more fun, hey, let's go over to the time in thing and let's play that game I taught you where we push the puffball around with our straw. And we're going to calm the body down. We're going to have that teaching moment, just not right when brother clobbered brother over the head. We're going to get in our bodies. So doing something like this, they can understand it's a calming game. You can play where you try to hit the cup with the fuzzball. You can do an obstacle course. Another tool, I brought a ton, are words. So I have this on Generation Mindful, and it is our manifesto. And by simply having this hanging on the wall, it's a reminder to you and your child that you are love. You are quite literally made out of love. And you can do something as simple as reciting the manifesto. And the other thing, I'm a big fan of mantras, as you know, is this deck called Peacemakers. And this is a nice little tool to have in your time in nook. And it's a deck of mantra cards that I created to help build and nurture emotional intelligence. For as little as, I have 2-year-olds working with the deck, but I generally recommend 3 to 9, somewhere in there. And then I have parents who work with the deck with their parents. So you're never too old for mantras. But what Peacemakers is, it's a deck of mantras that are empowered and that teach children about emotions. It's different than the codependent world we live in that tells you, you make me so mad, you make me so sad. And what Peacemakers are built on is the truth that I have sad and I have choice if I'm going to exercise or reshape those feelings. I love feelings. I honor feelings. Feelings are sacred, but they don't get to tell me what to do with my body. They can inform me, and then I have choice. And so where children get to be real powerful is when they have permission to feel. Permission to feel. And what a time and space does is it allows you to go exploring, to integrate, to feel, to make feeling safe. And that brings your child to one of the greatest gifts you could ever give them, and that's their intuition. So do you want to just play maybe?
Yes, for sure. I love these cards, so I'm always down to play.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to imagine that you and I go to our time in space, and we're just going to play. I'm going to say, do you want to pick a card, or let's pick our card, and you just tell me where your card is today. Right there?
Yep, stop right there.
Right there, okay. And so this is great. You picked I am strong and healthy. So if you were having a little guy who just clobbered another little guy over the head, it's a great time to talk. There's your opening, as now you're all thinking, aren't you? And you're all breathing and you feel safe and not judged. You can talk about what is true strength. That might be your opening right there, to talk about the ways we show real power in the world, and that real power isn't overpowering someone who's smaller than you. Now, if we were inclined to punish, what we would be inclined to do is to overpower a child who's overpowered a child. Mm-hmm. If we hit them, we would show that strength comes through violence. Or just simply, if we shame them by saying maybe their full name with their middle name included, with the old look, of I don't approve and therefore I do not love you. You might not be thinking that, but your child hears that. When they see that shame look, we disapprove of not just the action, but you. It's because I'm triggered and I'm throwing out not just I want to teach you, but I'm throwing out you're triggered, I'm triggered, and I think you're the cause of my pain. So it's a real opportunity for healing for me and my child. Anyway, that is how it works. And in the deck, you'll find 35 cards written. They're so simple that even a child can grasp it. Here's our guy, Little Dolphin. And he says, I think and talk about my day. When did I feel happy, sad, surprised? And if you pull that in your piece, I call it Peacemaker tent, or you could call it a time in space. There's your opportunity to really connect. And then you can parent and you can direct through that connection.
I love I love the Peacemakers cards, and mamas, I talked about it in the module as one of the tools because even with younger children, so this is how I kind of use it too, even with children who don't necessarily can read or you're not having those conversations, it's a great opportunity for us to be able to know the words to connect with them. So for example, you pick the I'm strong, I'm healthy, finding opportunities and ways to positively reinforce that in our child, using that as an affirmation to be like, you are so strong, you are so healthy, just using those ways of like building their connection to their true self. And I think it's a great way, even like you said, like, even if they're younger, you can still build this connection to emotion and make sure it's not a scary place. It's totally a place that, feelings are there for a reason and honoring it. And I love your other tools, like the straw. I'm so all about the straw. So that is a kid-tested and approved tool because I use it in all my kids' yoga classes. And it's really the easiest way for them to kind of like learn how to breathe. For those younger kids too, they don't even realize that they're breathing, but they're having a good time doing it. So, and also I just wanted to make a note. The manifesto is in my son's little time in space, his little Zen space. And it is also just empowering for me to read as it is for children. So whenever I'm in that space and I'm reading it, it's such a good awakening. Like, you are love, and I think it's perfect just for children and for kids. I mean, for our parents and for kids.
That's powerful because, again, we're moving away from parenting as something I do to you, and that parenting is a relationship. And guess who's part of that equation? Me. And there's nothing like children to bring us to our stopping points and to help us grow. I like to say that having children and being a parent helps make our life apparent to us. They're the best therapy you never paid for. They're going to take you there, where your stopping points to knowing yourself as love and being love and seeing the love in others in the world. They will lead you there. If you blame them, you'll think they're the problem. But if you see them as the little sensei masters of love that they are, you'll see them as taking you to the places that you have to heal. And then, having tools when you get there is powerful. Peacemakers being one of those tools. So I hope they're helpful to you. I use them in the morning. There's a deck within the box. I don't have them in front of me, but they're white on the front. And there are 7 that I wrote just for you as moms and dads. The mantras are a little more advanced, and they're powerful to start your day with a focus that today my word of the day was balance. And that's going to be in front of me, and I'm going to live into that because where we focus, we create. And so I have 7 themes, and you'll find, at least I find with my card, that I picked the card I needed that day. My little 6-year-old daughter said to me, "Mommy, I think my cards pick me." And I said, "I think you're right. That's pretty much how it works." So
for sure. And I think even like I really enjoyed the 7 cards too, the white cards. And I think that's great for older kids too. I mean, really, like
they really are. We're all looking for tools for our tweens and our teens and ourselves and nurturing that relationship. And Peacemakers are great for that.
Absolutely. It is one of my go-to. I tell every mom about it because I'm such a strong believer, and I'm so honored that you brought this vision to life because it's going to transform classrooms and homes and lives of children and their parents. So thank you for birthing that beautiful gift for all of us.
Well, thank you.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh. I can't believe where the time has gone. It has been so, so amazing. So many aha moments, so much inspiration and wisdom. And thank you so very much, Suzanne, for imparting all that to us today.
Thank you so much. And I just want to tell anyone out there listening that it's a journey. I struggled the first number of years in motherhood with enoughness. That's my journey, was being enough and knowing I am enough. And what I want you to know with my whole mama heart is that you are love and you are enough. And I'm so grateful that you're stepping up to the plate in the way you are living powerfully, taking a course like this. I really honor you for who you are. And I want to invite you into celebrating you every day, like, boom, I rock, I rock. I don't think we do that enough. And I'm just so grateful to have gotten the opportunity to be here with you all.
Well, it's been a likewise pleasure. I know that the mamas are going to want to connect with you. So, Suzanne, can you tell me, because I know that manifesto, you offer that, it's like a free gift that you give. So can you tell all our mamas how they can connect with you, how they can grab that manifesto?
Absolutely. So we're a community of mindful parents, educators, and therapists, and it's Generation Mindful is our community, and the website is genmindful.com. And if you go there and you join the community, it's free. And what we like to do is we like to play. And so we'll send you a bunch of free gifts that are a lot of printables, things like the manifesto, some finger puppets to do some storytelling. But don't worry if your child is 20 or if you're a grandparent or you have a newborn baby. This community is for all. And I connect with the community monthly with a free gift every month, something playful that creates mindfulness and connection is our focus. And right now we have the one product out, Peacemakers, and we're preparing to launch our second product called Love Bands. And I'm just really hopeful that through this community, through you, we can grow and spread this message that you are loved, that love is a noun, not a verb, and that we can touch every home and every classroom in the world as a community through these products and through education and support. And we have a give back component of our mission. We're a social mission driven company. There's more about that on the website. And I would invite you to take a look, poke around, and join us there on social media, wherever you hang out, Facebook, Instagram, we're there.